Looks like that's Dylan Lewis bringing him up and around as everyone else on the battle trying to get up. As they roll up around, Wood got this one going down as he brings out Houston, Texas. He is going to grab up the win here tonight. It looks like it is going to be the Gold Cup 1 and the 18th.
Joe knocking this one down on the top spot. He's coming back down the line.
This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
Like dance comes Chudzik.
I'm cranking up on the throttle. Victory is mine. Show you the harder the battle, harder the fight. I've come too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made.
It's a throw down, throwing it down right now. Whoa! Coming around the outside to Chudzik, getting onto that 2 spot as he's coming in out that second turn
This
now.
is how
Chudzik holding on to the 2
legends
spot,
are
bring him back around. See what's up out front as they're coming down through that first straightaway. It's all Dylan Wood on the top spot, but Chudzik trying to grab the gear and crank it up. Cranking up the power light right now, coming back down that last straightaway. Throw down, back to the line. Wood, Chudzik, 1-2, coming back to the stripe. Polk gonna get a 3.
This is how legends
Serge Tucker 1-2. Williams gonna come on in. Trujillo. Montoya and Trujillo.
a new animal. This is how legends are made.
National #1 amateur in the house this week in SoCal, Florida. Like to call him the Birdman. Crane getting it done out front, coming in on the second turn. Polk on the 2 spot.
This is how legends are made.
Coming down the line and out the last turn. Polk takes over the top spot right there. He says, "This is my house, bro." Coming back at him.
This is how legends are made. Just you watch. This is how legends are made. Like a titan that's rising.
Coming back at us now. In and out the
Just
second
you
turn. National
watch.
#1 amateur on the top spot.
This is
That's
how
over there. It's gotta be
legends
the
are
Birdman.
made.
Crane getting it done, bringing it back around. Polk for the 2s. They come in and out that last turn. Cole sitting on the 3 spot as they come back home, but it's all the Birdman. Crane, wire to wire, taking it to the line. Polk, Cole coming back in. The Birdman getting it done. Downtown we're going to go. National #1 amateur in some red colors. Going to bring him out of the first turn down the second straightaway. Checking out on the pack. Adios, amigos. He says he'll see you at the finish line. Coming in out that second turn, going to be your Gold Cup 1 through Polk. Polk, Brody Cole going to pick it up on the 3 as we're coming down through that third straightaway. Here and out of the last turn we go. It's all the Birdman. Crane on the top spot. And some red colors out of Riverside, California. National #1 amateur. Back to the stride. Polk, Cole. 14 experts, Millick, Romero, DeFore, Graves, Polk, Flores, Williams, Smith. Polk got a pretty good shot out front. Gonna get this one going on. Wheelers colors gonna get it rolling on out the first turn down the second straightaway. Polk making it happen right now. DeFore in the 2 spots are coming in on that second turn. Bringing him in and out. Got Flores sitting on the 3 with the Mad Dog Millick. He's trying to find a way. Romero trying to do some shopping down the third straightaway. Get it out of the last turn we go. Bring it back home. Still it's on Polk down front. Coming on back down the line. Polk gonna bring it back in. Polk the 4. Main motor number 88, 14-year-old expert. Another hot run going on. Polk back to the wheel race on the top spot. Bringing it back through. Getting things rolling on down the line. Yes, Cummins looking for that 2 spot in and out of that second turn. Mad Dog Millick bringing it back around the G-Mike. DeFore rocking this one down the third straightaway. Flores trying to put the mustache on the podium right now. See what he's got coming in on that last turn. Gotta crank it up and be one. Come back through. Polk gets it done out front. Back for a line.
Yeah, we're different from the masses. We go back Jurassic, baby, we are classic. With you to the casket, mellow the dramatic. Even through the madness, yeah, I'm still gonna ride with you, ride with you, ride with you. You know I'd die for you,
K coming down, DK 316 trying to make it all down in the turn number 1. Oh, the juice, juicing up right now. Ramped up on this one. He's going to take it down the second straightaway. He's taking the high side. Coming on down to it. Heil making some pull right there. He's going to, Heil coming back around. That's Polk on the top spot right now. 3 spot. Back to the line, we're going to go. Jerome, Polk, 1, 2, Anderson.
Die for you. Put it all on the line for you. Just to keep you bulletproof. Stay with me tonight. I'll be your alibi.
By direction, Cole. Got choked to number 2 by Cole. Choked, 9-15. And the 7 by of Zufeld. 15-year-old for Freehold Nelson Wright.
Fifteen-year-old experts down into turn number 1. Quick, Nick Adams on the top spot. Adios, amigos. If you want it, you got to come get it. Coming down the second straightaway. Freewalt doing a little shopping. Whoa, hold on to it. Throw down. Almost looped it out, but held it down. Coming back down that third straightaway. Wood, but it's all quick. Nick Adams, Rockstar Rift Tangent Colors on the top spot. Gonna double down at the Rock tonight. Coming back at us. Crazy Mom in the house coming to the line. Adams, Freewalt. Wood go 1, 2, 3. Your 42 bike out of Indiana, 15-year-old expert, factory wheelless, LSG, Drew Polk.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Gate coming down with the big boys right now. Abby got a pretty good shot, but it's all the Aussie. A foo. Gonna get this one started up right now. Taking it down the second straightaway. Abby Picardo running the 2-3. Bringing it down the line. Into that second turn. Polk gonna try to crank it up right now as he's coming back around. See what he's got for him. Coming down that third straightaway. But it's all a foo on the top spot. Getting things rolling on into that last turn. A foo, Picardo bringing it back around. Abby on the 3 spot. Back to the line they go. Coming back in, another full tilt rider. Gotta be my.
Warnock and Polk, got to be Zach Jacobs. Daylight ride getting it done on the 1. Hank the Tank got the power light. Danscom DFR ride on the 2 spot. Weavis Colors rolling on the 3. Oh, yeah. That's got to be Polk. Jacobs, Chudzik, Polk. Going to go 1, 2, 3. Del Vasto on the move right now. He's hot out of the last turn. Coming back at me. Jacobs, Chudzik, Polk, Del Vasto. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And coming out of lane number 1, Drew Polk.
All right, guys, here we go. Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Gate down, 15-year-old expert. No. Chudzik taking it downtown. Power right dance competition. DFR Colors coming back at us. Chudzik on the top spot right now. Woods chasing him down with Tyler Knight. Into turn number 2. Oh! You going over. Coming at us. Knight says, I'm taking this one. All right. Coming on back to us. We'll see who's getting it done out front. Jacobs, Daylight Cycle's going to bring it back around. In and out of the last turn, he's going to go. Jacobs out front, coming back to the line. It'll be Jacobs at 54. Del Vasto.
I'm Drew Polk. I live in Avon, Indiana, and I race the 15-year-old expert class for Factory Wheelers LSG. So some goals I had for this year was to keep my state number 1 plate and to keep my Gold Cup regional number 1 plate. And I also wanted to get my first national win, and the bigger picture was to get a top 10 NAG plate, which is national age group. So the first national came around, and it was the Louisville, Kentucky indoor, and I didn't know where I was going to really be there, so I kind of went into it with an open mind, and I ended up making the main Saturday, so that was pretty cool, and I ended up 5th after one kid crashed, so I was really in 6th. And then Sunday I ended up not making the main, and I could tell by my riding I was still a little timid after not racing nationals for a while. So I knew I just had to get some of that national experience back since I had a lot of injuries in 2017. And so I raced 16 out of 26 nationals, so I only missed 10, not including grands and the ROC. So as I said before, I wanted to keep my state #1 plate and my Gold Cup regional #1 plate, which I actually did. And I didn't really have very good points for those. Like, I crashed the first state race for Indiana, so I didn't have very good points going in, so I had 3 firsts and I think a 5th. But I still ended up winning it. And then for Gold Cup, I actually got 3rd in class because I had no points. And then I got #1 in open, so I still kept that #1. So as you can see from my podium video, my first time getting a podium this year was at Rockford, Illinois. I got a 2nd on Friday, 2nd on Saturday, and 3rd on Sunday. But I got pretty lucky on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, I went from 6th to 3rd, and then I passed for 2nd in the 2nd turn after there was a crash. And then Saturday, I went from 4th to 2nd after 2 kids crashed in the 2nd turn. So I was feeling pretty good that weekend, and I really wanted to get like a real podium. So I ended up doing that on Sunday, got a 3rd. And so I was feeling pretty on fire from then on out. The next national I went to was Roseville, California, and I really went there just because I'd ridden that track because I used to live in California. And my goals were to get podiums all 3 days, and I ended up doing better than that. And Friday, I kind of went into the first turn in 2nd, feeling really good, and I was kind of just trying to keep my 2nd for the good points. And so I kind of had my head down, pumping through the rhythm, manualing through the rhythm. And I look up, and I'm like right on Brandon Crane, who was right in front of me. So I saw it, and I just kept going, and he ended up jumping and kind of landing on my arm. And so I got a little squirrely, but I ended up making the pass in the last turn and taking it home to the line, getting my first national win. Then the rest of the weekend, it was kind of funny. So I got a 2nd on Saturday, and I thought I'd be happy with it since my goals were getting top 3s. But I was kind of mad about it because I was pretty close to him, but I don't know, I just felt like I could have done better. Then Sunday, I made a bunch of mistakes. Like in the first turn, I went way too low, and then down the 2nd straight, I cased the manual. And then coming out of the 2nd turn, I pull manualed way too early, and then I bonked in the rhythm, so that's why he was like half a straight ahead, but it's alright, I got a couple podiums. So my first win at Roseville was pretty funny because I was thinking about it all day on Thursday after practice, and I was thinking, like, what if I was in the position in 2nd? Would I go for it, or would I settle for the points? And I told myself that I'd go for it, and I planned the whole thing out in my mind, and funny enough, it actually played out perfectly, exactly how I thought. And so that's how all that went down. So next up on the list was actually Salt Lake City, Utah. And again, I'd ridden that track, so I really wanted to go there. And it was right before my birthday, like, Sunday was the day before my birthday, so I ended up going there. And again, I was also going for podiums, but this one I was more confident that I could win it. So Saturday came around, didn't lose a lap, went to the main, won it, pretty nice win. And then Sunday came around, and a kid actually pulled me in my first moto. So I wouldn't say my confidence was down, but I knew that was in the back of my head. If I messed up, that there was a possibility I couldn't win it. But I still ended up winning that moto, won the rest of the weekend. Then Sunday's main came around, and I got a decent gate. Wasn't the gate I was hoping for, but I still ended up going in the first turn in first and taking it to the line to get it first. So after that, I had 3 wins, and then I think 4 seconds and a 3rd. So my points were pretty good. I was sitting number 4 at that point. So then after I was sitting number 4, I really wanted to race the NAG 5 challenge. But a couple Canadians ended up passing me towards the end of the year, and so I was sitting number 6, so I was really bummed about that. But then we saw Lemoore was open, and I had break that weekend, so I ended up going out there, racing there, and I made a pass in the 2nd turn for first, as you could have seen from the video. So that was a nice win. I was really stoked on that, as you could probably see when I crossed the line. I was pretty happy. But then Sunday came around, and I made a couple mistakes. I should have moved over more, and I didn't, but the 2nd's still nice. So at that point, I had 4 firsts and 4 seconds, putting me at like 2,020 points, and NAG 6. So I still wasn't able to race the NAG 5 challenge. So I was pretty bummed that I couldn't race the NAG 5 challenge as I was sitting number 6, but I kind of pushed it to the back of my head so I wouldn't get my hopes up. And I was always wondering like what would happen if someone didn't race it, if I would be able to race it. And I actually found out in Lemoore that Jack Kelly hurt himself and he wouldn't even be going to Grand. So we emailed USA BMX and they said that if someone from my class didn't race, they'd go down the list to the next person and I would be first in line. So I ended up being able to race that. So that was a really cool experience. I mean, I didn't get very far, but it was still cool to race. So going into ROC, I also didn't know how I'd really be, so I kind of went into it open-minded again. And I ended up, I went in the first turn second in the semi, which you could see from the video. And I was really stoked, and I was just kind of going as fast as I could. And I hit pro set, and I was kind of playing it conservative. Like, I probably should have pedaled in between, but I kind of just wanted to make it over and make the main. Which, now that I look back, I should have pedaled because there's no point in not pedaling. But I still made it through, got a second in the semi, then main came around and I was in 4th, and that was pretty cool. But I slid a little in the first turn, trying to pass for 3rd, and then I lost a lot of speed and got pushed up in the 2nd turn, and then got passed again in the last turn. So I went back to 6th, which was still cool, but I would have liked to have gotten a top 4. Then Grands came around, and first moto on Saturday, I actually didn't make open. I got a 3rd, barely. And then in class, I looped out over the first jump because I'd been over-manualing the whole weekend, but I guess I picked up my spin a little quicker than I had been and just looped it, and so I didn't make it out of that. Then I went to bed at about 10 o'clock. I woke up at 2 in the morning with food poisoning, so I was throwing up, got 4 hours of sleep in total. So I kind of told myself I just wanted to race it, get some extra points, and luckily enough, my first round was actually pretty easy. So I went into that, made it out of my first moto, and I had 8ths next with 8 kids, and so I didn't know how far I'd make it. My goal was to make quarters, because once you make quarters, you start making points. Not many, but you still made a couple points. So I made it out of the 8th. I actually won my 8th, and then quarters came around, and I went to the bathroom, and after that I started feeling really lightheaded, and I didn't even think I'd be able to race. So I went on the gate, and I got really nauseous. I feel like I was going to pass out, but I actually got into the first turn in 1st, and I suddenly lost all my energy, had nothing left, got past the 2nd, and I was just trying to make it to the line just to make it to semis, because the more points I could get, the better. And once I was in semis, I knew I had no energy, so I ended up actually eating because I didn't care if I'd throw it back up or not, and I drank a bunch of water, and I ended up keeping it down for a while, so I had enough energy, and I raced the semi and ended up 3rd in there from gate 8, so that was really cool. And then I went into the main, and I had gate 1, and then like the 4 other faster kids that I knew would be the top runners, they had the outside, and so I was actually pretty confident that I'd be able to win it, and I thought I'd be able to go up the inside of them and push them all up and maybe even come and win it. So we went into the first turn, and I think I came out like 4th or 5th after getting kind of stuck on the bottom, and a kid high-loaded me. And then we went into the 2nd turn, and 2 kids crashed. And so I was into 3rd, and I was thinking that was pretty cool. So I was trying to pass for 2nd down the 3rd straight. I had to go to the outside of the dog leg, and so I ended up having to move over on the kid hitting pro set. And when he hit me, because he had no intentions of slowing down, so he hit me, and I lost a lot of my speed, but I still was able to recover it. But I got high-loaded by 2 kids and ended up getting passed twice to 5th. And we even watched the replay, and he barely got it. And I was pretty bummed. Like, I wasn't bummed that I did bad. It's just I would have liked to have kept the 3rd and even get the 4th, because honestly I kind of wanted the trophy, and getting the 5th and 4th, the difference is like a foot between them. Like one's an MEQ size and one's 4th place size. But other than that, I was alright. I was happy. But I ended up looking at the points, and I thought I got 5th, but I looked at the points and I was in 4th, and I looked at the gap between me and 3rd, and I was only 100 points off. So if I would have kept that 3rd place, I actually would have gotten NAG 3, but I'm still stoked on the NAG 4. It's been a good year. Ended up National 60 with all this in mind, I have a lot of people that have helped me through the years and helped me get through this year as good as possible. First off, I'd like to thank my parents for taking me to all the nationals and supporting me in my highs and my lows. I'd like to thank Jerry Bradford for all the training he's given me and for believing in me before I was really doing anything special. I'd like to thank the Vellador family for taking me in at all the nationals and taking care of me and doing everything they can for me. And I'd like to thank Donovan and Tracy Long and WeOS LSG for getting me on the team and getting me hooked up with all the awesome parts and bikes and the trainings and everything. And I'd also like to thank 60 Helmets for sponsoring me since 2015, and Josh Chisholm for getting me hooked up with them, and then Worldwide Bearings for getting me the best bearings out there. I've been using them for the whole year. And then I'd also like to thank Leo Heil for letting me use his bike during practice at Grands, because my 4th lap I ended up snapping my clip, so he let me use his bike. So I'd also like to thank all the sponsors of the team, which would be 60 Helmets, 7 Gear, ProMax, Box, HT, ODI, KMC, and all of the other people that have helped me and the team for letting me have the greatest year that I could have, and I'm hoping I can have an even better year next year. And next year some of my goals are getting max points going in, so all the wins possible, which I think maybe 8 again. And then I'd also like to keep my State 1 and Gold Cup 1, those are some smaller goals. And I'd mainly like to podium at Grands and get a top 3 nag plate and even get a national plate, because you have to get top 50 now. Thanks again to everyone who's helped me. I'd also like to thank my family and friends who have been so supportive over the past years that I've been racing. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time.